at 5:14. Okay. Our plan today is to work on 3 ordinances essentially. And one is the fire hydrant ordinance. Another is the alarms ordinance, fire alarms ordinance. And the third one is the gravel ordinance, essentially, I'll call it, as we've been labeling it.
Well, it's the asphalt to the gravel roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gravel roads, yes. Okay. So let's just tackle them one at a time. Okay. So the first one I have in my pile here is the fire hydrant ordinance. And actually Brett was working on that for us. That's the one. But we have most of the corrections here. Let's at least talk about those and make sure they're correct. And that way we can move forward, I think, with our hearing and the likes to get through that. And it's fair to say that we have approval now from the select board to send these off to the attorney once we've had the hearing.
Yeah, once we have the hearing.
Yes. Very good. Okay.
Bill, are you ready to guide us?
Yep, which one are you talking about?
Hydrant.
You have to speak up a little bit.
Okay,
They're very
sorry.
soft.
Yep. So we're just going to take a quick review down the fire hydrant ordinance and make sure we got all the stuff we talked about, Phil. So you're a major player in that, to say the least.
I did get the email. Unfortunately, none of the corrections were in there.
Okay.
So I can go through what I have written down as far as the corrections.
Okay.
On the first one, the scope, that was supposed to change from 15 to 20,000 gallons in regards to the cistern tank.
Okay.
Minimum of 20,000 gallons.
Yep.
The other correction is,
Bill, I had subject to review by the fire chief. Why did I have that note? Is that supposed to be written in there or not?
what are you talking about?
Right at the end where it's 20,000 gallons water source within 800 feet of all proposed houses.
Yep.
And then I wrote in subject to review by the fire chief. Is that in case it's 850 feet?
Yeah.
So should that subject to review by the fire chief be in there, the typing?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Does anybody else have that?
No, I don't.
Okay, subject to review by the fire chief.
In the scope sentence.
Yes, it's right after, so that if it's like 850 feet,
Yep.
Phil can say, you know, hey, good to go.
Yep. Under section 3A, we were removing where it says all hydrants shall be 8-inch PVC or steel. We were removing steel. Everything will be PVC. Hydrant specs, page 3A.
So it's only PVC.
Only PVC.
Got it. Okay.
And then,
I've got other stuff that I wrote down.
Say it again?
I've got other stuff that I've written in here. Do you want it or not?
Yep.
yes, what is it?
We're under general rules on page 2.
Page 2.
Page 2.
Yep.
All houses shall be within a reasonable location of the hydrant. It says 800 feet.
Which number is that?
1A.
1A?
Yep. Or additional hydrants shall be required, subject to review by the fire chief.
Correct.
So that stuff should be in there.
Yes. Yep.
So repeat that one more time.
All houses shall be within a reasonable location of the hydrant. Or additional hydrants shall be required, subject to
Or
review.
that should say may be required.
That's too many, doesn't it?
Okay.
May.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
The reasonable.
may be required.
correct.
Sorry, what are you changing it to?
All houses shall be within 800 feet of a hydrant or additional hydrants may be required.
At the discretion of the fire chief?
Of the discretion, yes. Per the discretion of the fire chief, yes.
He's reading it.
Yeah.
He's reading it verbatim.
So it should read, all houses shall be within a reasonable distance of the hydrant, instead of just the 800 feet.
Oh, yes, reasonable distance,
Reasonable
yes.
distance of the hydrant, or additional hydrants may be required,
Correct.
subject to review or approval by the fire chief.
Yes.
On page 3,
Yep.
under 1G3,
Yeah, we were up in that, I think, 3,000.
3,000
Yeah.
from 2,000.
Yep.
Have you got that?
1G, I see it.
1G3 should be 3,000, not 2,000.
Okay.
Then we went down to 3A, and it should just be PVC, not steel.
Correct. Yeah, no more steel.
Then 3B, I have all hydrant connections shall be 6 inches NST, female swivel with a
Yep.
cap.
Yep.
Oh, it's a height of 36 feet above, 36 inches above grade.
Correct.
Okay, so that should be in there. The height of the
height of the head.
height of the head, there you go. Should be 36 feet above, 36 inches above grade.
It's 36 feet, we got problems.
I know, it's a lot of draw.
Bull climbers there.
Then on page 4,
Yep,
3H,
yep,
all systems shall be capable of holding a minimum of 20,000 gallons of water per minute.
20,000
Gallons of water, period.
Correct.
Then
And
there's
then we
something about,
added 3I, which is the fire ponds.
okay, fire ponds, state certified to 60,000 gallons.
Correct.
Now, I've got something here per minute, you need 10,000 gallons and 4 feet below frost. I don't remember what that was.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, I don't know what that is.
I was hallucinating.
Clarify.
So fire ponds, state certified to 60,000 gallons.
Correct.
Plus the 20,000?
No, that's fire ponds.
That's a pond.
The cistern tank is the concrete.
Cistern's gotta be-
I don't know what the difference is.
It's,
Just trying to,
cistern's gotta
I
be
wasn't sure if you wanted to vote.
no, the cistern tank is here.
60,000.
Like all the interior, not what it used to be. It's a heating fire.
Okay, that's all I had for changes on the hydrant.
So on
Fire pond, yeah, and then that's 20,000 for the,
Right, we're taking the fire ponds out of the 3G, 3H.
yeah.
The fire pond, just cistern tank for 20,000, then we added 3I, which was the fire pond.
Fire. Those are all the changes I had.
Okay. Did we make any changes in the fines or anything like that? That you guys have notes on?
Fine.
Fines, down here, penalties and fines. I don't show anything.
No, I didn't have anything done on that.
Okay.
If they don't comply, we'll let the house burn. Simple as that.
Does anyone, or maybe you do, because I'm looking for if anyone has a file on this, so we could just alter a file rather than retyping the whole thing.
We have it.
Well, it's in
You do have
Word,
it?
so,
Yeah, we have it.
yeah.
Even though it was a draft way back when.
Yeah, this is in
it's
the, yeah, it's in the O drive, so. it's-
Yeah, it's in a Word Word document, so.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay. So,
Dave's got a question.
Who's gonna maintain these?
That also goes into, that's in there as far as, under, it's either the developer or the homeowners association, unless they hand it over to us.
So if they were to hand it over to you, would you have the ability to refuse?
If it doesn't meet specs, yes.
Okay.
But if it meets specs and they want to turn it over to you, you'd have to accept it.
As long as it meets specs, yeah.
Is that written in there someplace?
Yeah, it's in under easement right away as far as, yeah, it says the town of Sebago shall not nor maintain hydrants unless specified set forth in section 1Q, which goes into the hydrant, cistern, tank, access and turnaround specs. 1Q or is it 1G? It says, well, maybe it's Q. It shall remain the property as maintained, repaired. The required hydrant shall be maintained as available at any time, plowing, bush hogging. Should the developer or association fail to maintain it, they are notified, or they'll be advised that the hydrant's out of service. And then if they do hand it over, the developer association agrees to pay $3,000 to the town of Sebago fire hydrant reserve account to be placed in escrow for future repairs or maintenance by the town.
So is that escrow paid upfront?
That would be paid if they hand it over
If
to
they
us.
hand it over?
Yes. That goes into a separate dry hydrant account, which is I-300, I think, which is the dry hydrant account, which doesn't get cycled into the UFB every single year. It stays in that account at all times.
Are you satisfied with this as written right now?
I am until we go to public hearing.
Okay, well, okay, but does this have, what I'm trying to do is shorten the
We
time.
can go to the public hearing the way it's written now, and then with comments and Brett's final product, we can.
Because there may be changes once we have public comment, so.
Okay.
But I'm happy with how the draft is now,
Okay.
and obviously, public comment has the right to, question
Yeah.
and bring up, suggestions or changes, and then we can tweak it from
Then we
there
go
before
from
we
there.
send it
Yep.
for the final lesson, once we get lesson from the board,
Your
and send
wish.
it off to the board.
Your wish is that it goes to the contract planner for his final approval.
It would go to.
The board requested it
Yeah.
at the meeting that we
Beg your pardon?
discussed it. The board requested it at
What board? This one?
the planning board.
We did.
Yep.
I think it's just a matter of, I think once after we have the public hearing, we just need the blessing from a quick attorney just to look to verify all the verbiage is correct. But we need the blessing from the select board before we do that.
That's right.
So that's why we're gonna have the public hearing, and
Okay, I can see that, and then, but I don't know why we have to go through Brett. Just because can we make a motion not to do
I
that?
mean, you can, but at that meeting that we discussed it early February, I believe it was early February, or early January, you guys did request that Brett take a look at it.
Okay, but we have to think twice about doing
Certainly
that
has.
from henceforth.
Bob? Yes.
Why would we have a public hearing on something that's, I don't know, I would think we would go to the attorneys first on that. There may be some gross changes that need to be done. We're gonna be making some mistakes.
Yeah.
And if we change it too much from the public hearing, then it's just like not having a public hearing at all.
Yeah.
It's procedure.
Yeah, it's procedure, that's the way it
It's
is.
procedure. You can't break procedure.
Not
You have to
breaking
have a public
procedure.
hearing first.
I'm not breaking procedure.
You have to have a public hearing first. That's the way it works.
We can send it to an attorney, make sure she approves everything in general, that we're not doing anything illegal.
Then you're gonna have to send it twice to us.
That's right, it's going twice to the attorney. That's what we're trying to eliminate, David. We have some smarts up here on the board. We can figure out if we're doing something legal or not.
Really, good for you.
Yeah, it'll go to the attorney before it's final, but it doesn't have to go to us.
Okay, good. That's fine.
Sure.
We discussed at the select board meeting that you were going to send the copy to us as the board of selectmen and review it, and then we would determine if it needed to go to the attorney. So
Okay.
that was the, I don't know if any of you have read those minutes,
After
but
the
that's
hearing.
what we had discussed at that meeting.
Thank you. I lost it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got,
Doesn't it go before, doesn't it go like public hearing and then to you? Isn't that the procedure?
You're saying it goes to.
Yes.
Yeah, it's public hearing
Yes.
first, and then it goes to the select board.
Right.
That we had said to send it to us.
I'd like to circle back to the $3,000 escrow. Just our perspective, how much does it cost annually for the maintenance of these hydrants?
Well, it depends on if anything is damaged over the winter months.
And I mean,
If somebody, it all depends on the winter months. Last year, I had to replace a head that was shot by a 22 on Foley Road. Just the hydrant head alone is $1,000. So I had to go down there with a sawzall, cut the head off, put a new head on. It all depends on what happens over the winter. You know, if we have a very hard winter freeze and frost gets in there, ground moves, we had to fix, well, perfect example is Moose Cove Lodge. 6 or 7 years ago, we had to go down and dig all the way down to the elbow and replace a elbow that had, cracked from a rock that had penetrated over the course of 5 or 6 years and broke the pipe. So it's some we don't do any maintenance on, and others it all depends on what Mother Nature says.
the reason I'm asking is, you would think you'd want an escrow in a sufficient amount for a reasonable period of time. I'm just gonna throw out 5 years. You think $3,000 would cover maintenance over a 5-year period?
Yeah.
I just have a comment that if the town's gonna require us, I say us as builders, developers, speaking for myself, the town's gonna require me to put in a 20,000 gallon cistern at my expense, and I'm gonna give it to the town, I think the town should be responsible for the maintenance of it, not me.
Once you hand it over.
Right? So why should I be responsible for paying an escrow, a $3,000 escrow, if it's not my property? It's your property. I don't mean to say you, Phil, but I mean that is the town, is requiring us to put in a $50,000, $60,000 water tank at our expense, then I feel like the town should be responsible for maintaining it and plowing it, and if someone shoots the head off, then the town should pay to fix it. It's just my feeling right now. I have not read this ordinance, and I just thought I'd mention that before it goes to public hearing. I guess that is really what the public hearing is for, if for comments like that. Maybe this is not appropriate time.
No, it's a workshop, so.
It's a workshop.
Is in section 4, exceptions, 4A, is that $1,500 amount? Is that correct, or should that be more?
Section what, 4A?
Section 4A. I know this is quite an old ordinance.
I think, I almost want to say, memory serves me, we removed that. I don't have the original copy that I'd done all my notes on, so I was going back to my head scratching that I had in my other files. No, I think we have done this, yeah, because that was done, I can't remember what one it was. But that's, if the subdivision or whatnot is within close proximity of a hydrant.
You think that number's still good? I mean, it's been, 10 years since this was developed? Is that still a feasible amount you have there?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the maintenance on, the system.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I have a couple of observations in response to Kirk's thoughts. So the developer, I'll assume $60,000 is a good number, spent $60,000 to put in the hydrant and turns it over to the town. If the developer pays the $3,000 escrow fee, that protects the taxpayer. And If not, then the taxpayer immediately assumes that liability, and as much as we're trying to minimize increased tax burden, $3,000 in additional cost to a developer that can be spread across a number of lots doesn't seem like an unrealistic expectation.
How about 63,000?
63,000.
It's a little different.
Well, the 60,000 is going to be there anyway, if we pass this ordinance.
Correct.
Well, we got another one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So next steps with this?
We can make the changes and we can have the public hearing and discuss it after.
Thank you. Thank you all.
So we will have the updated version.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about the nuisance fire alarm. Alarm ordinance. And I think, David, you can talk about this one, I think, but we have the updated crossed out document.
You want me to talk about it?
Is that all, is that
Okay.
the latest, or do we make more changes to that?
Bob, you gotta speak up.
Sorry.
We can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay. We have a marked up version.
You have a copy of this, Phil? Do you want to speak to the changes?
We just eliminated some things and added, as far as the nuisance alarm ordinance, we're moving section 5 as far as the alarm
Yes.
system
Yep.
resignation or registration. We changed under section 6, which obviously these numbers are going to move around because
Yep.
sections have been removed, but section 6, each alarm user shall be allowed up to 3 false alarms a calendar year without a penalty.
Yes.
The penalties start after the third one, so the fourth one, under section 7, the fourth false alarm is $500, and the fifth and subsequent more is $1,000 per alarm.
Yes.
So we're going to cross through the $500 that's on the draft.
Hey, you scratch out the third gets scratched, fourth gets changed from 350 to 500, and
Yeah.
fifth gets changed from 500 to 1,000.
Correct. And 6 is removed, 5 and on is $1,000 per paw.
Yep.
Under notice of violation, number 3, any civil penalties assessed, notice shall be provided by US certified mail, receipt requested.
Yep.
That's as far as being, notified after you're on your 4th alarm.
Yep.
Number 9, under corrective actions, after the 3rd alarm system with a calendar year, the town shall require the alarm company to submit documentation demonstrating corrective action, which shall include, and then it goes into repairs, qualified technician, written verification the alarm user has received instructions on proper operation of the system.
Yep.
We took out section 10, took out section 11.
Yep.
12 stays the same on the 13 appeals. It went from 10 days to 30 days upon receipt of the notice.
Yep.
And that's it.
Okay. That's what I had too. So with that? Okay, great.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question about the fines. That's a purview of the select board, I would think.
Yes.
They want to charge.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, to me, they seem too light. You're gonna roll $1 million piece of equipment down the road and 3 times for nothing, and then the 4th time you only, get $500. I just think it should
I'm
be
going
a
off with
stiffer.
the area towns, what they charge. That's what Naples charges.
That may be, but.
I'm just
think
letting you know, Dave, that's what the area towns charge. Naples is the one that's rolling the $1.4 million ladder truck every time. And,
Okay.
yep,
That could be subject to change if needed anyway. So.
yeah. And again, it's not to, we're not trying to penalize or hurt somebody.
Right.
But we're trying to educate them or promote maintenance on the system. You know, that's the key thing is, if you're not doing maintenance, you know, you're gonna start getting a little ding here and there. But then obviously that's subject to, obviously, there's exemptions, you know, power outage or severe weather. You know, that doesn't go on your number of calls, obviously, because if we have a power surge, you know, that's out of their control. But you keep burning food at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's within your control. I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's got to bite just a little, not a lot, just a little to get their attention.
So on the penalties, should we include a statement that those amounts and the frequency of them may be changed by the select board at its discretion?
You read my mind. Yeah,
I mean, that's,
otherwise we'd have to change an ordinance to change it, so.
will you put that language in
To
there?
be determined by the select board.
Can we remove the amounts of the penalties, put them on the fee schedule, and just add verbiage that says the current use fee schedule will reflect the fees?
Yep.
Okay.
Upon approval of the select board.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, because
they're the ones who set the
approve all
fees. Yep.
And it moves, it's easier to change that than it is to change the
I'm
ordinance.
fine with that.
I think that's a reasonable suggestion, but unfortunately, it doesn't put the number out there in front of the fee schedule is sort of hidden from the public, in my opinion. So I think including it in the ordinance makes it visible. And if we give the board, the select board the discretion to make changes, it works out pretty much the same.
What do you guys think?
I like to see the numbers out there. I agree with Merle on that one.
Okay.
I still think it should say can be changed by the
Yes.
Board of Selectmen. I don't think you want to have to go through an ordinance change to change.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say,
You can put as of this date, fines are, and then,
Starting at.
subject to change annually.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, some.
Subject to change by the select board.
Yeah.
That's easy enough, subject to change by the select board.
But at least it gives them a number to have, you know, that you're gonna get a ding. You know. But again, we're not here to make money off them, we're here to educate and promote, you know, proper usage and maintenance of said system.
Now, you're gonna be asked, what are you gonna do with this money, chief?
It goes into the UFB, doesn't go to me. Doesn't go to anything in the department, it's a, what do they call it,
Undesignated?
it's like the rec department, when they get, somebody, you know, gives them a check.
Revenue?
Thank you. So it goes into the UFB, so it goes into our savings account. But it's not designated to a specific department.
Okay. We all set on this one?
I think we should say thank you to the fire chief for bringing these two forward. I think these are two really good ordinances.
Yep.
He's on top of
Thanks,
it.
Phil.
Well, let's get through public hearing
Yeah.
next.
Show them the date.
We're gonna do that. 31st is the time.
I don't know if you can explain it better. Okay.
All right, Christine, you all set with this one as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so, Matt, are you going to take us through briefly?
Yeah.
These are all changes we suggested, so we're just kind of taking a look.
Version that we had. Is that this one?
There's a date on it, is that one?
Thinner of the two of these.
This is the older one, so that one right there.
23. Thank you. There's something's going on. I want to release the right one.
So it looks like, I'm sorry, you're ready? Are we ready?
Hi, Matt.
Looks like change of start on schedule of uses, page 4-6. We have 5 new uses added. Asphalt paving plant, temporary asphalt paving plant, concrete plant, cement plant, and temporary concrete plant. For temporary asphalt paving plant, we have planning board approval in the village district, and temporary concrete plant, planning board approval in the village district again.
Excuse me,
Brett-
what page are you on?
What's that?
What page?
4-6.
Okay, all right, here we go, thank you.
Okay. Brett did inform me there have been conversations about putting no across all zoning districts. I'd be happy to give my comments, but if this is, just make sure this is as proposed. These look correct according to your last meeting.
Please.
He'd like to know your comments.
Generally speaking, if you're not going to allow it somewhere, then you should probably not reference it. That way, when someone comes in, they would have to request a zoning change or change the schedule of uses for such a use, and then the discussion will be had at this time. I would just say my concern would be that this would be considered exclusionary zoning by preventing it from operating anywhere in town.
So your recommendation is not to address asphalt paving plants, concrete plants, or cement plants?
I'll leave it to your discretion. I would think if someone were to come in and say they want to do a cement plant and you don't allow it anywhere, that could be potential legal issues.
So we can keep the temporary and remove the permanent cement plant?
Yeah, I think if you allow it somewhere, it's generally not looked upon as, I'll say, good practice to outright state you're prohibiting something in town.
So just leave it out, don't
That would be
mention-
my recommendation.
Okay.
That way, if like I said, if someone
Yeah.
does want to come forward with, say, a cement plant, they can petition and you can discuss where that belongs, if it's appropriate, through a text amendment request from the petitioner. They would come in and say, I want to change your zoning ordinance so that cement plants are allowed in the village district, and you would have that discussion at that time. Right now, you're pretty much outright prohibiting it.
That's exclusionary zoning when we do that, is what you call
That
it.
is my concern.
Yep, okay.
So it suggests that we not have 11, 13, and 14. That would be a recommendation.
That would be mine.
All right.
So if you don't prohibit it outright, I mean, there are a million businesses that we don't have in our ordinances that, you know, could come in and be built or started and open in Sebago. Why couldn't an asphalt paving plant be one of those?
Someone has the right, if it's not included in the list, and generally your permitted uses say give some leeway for say similar use as determined by the code enforcement officer. But if you have, I'm trying to think of a use, drive-through restaurants. If you don't have them listed here, someone can come in and say, I'd like to change your zoning ordinance to allow for drive-through restaurants in X zoning district. If you have it, drive-through restaurants listed as no anywhere, that's subject to legal challenge.
Actually, I think some of our past ordinances, we actually have no in several different columns.
It's, you know, I understand you're cost conscious with the attorney. I'm not an attorney, but based on my, past experience, it's not good practice to outright prohibit something in your ordinance.
Yeah.
I really can't see any of these.
That makes so much sense.
Do you want to think about that and we'll bring it up at the next meeting?
Yeah, we don't have funds available to run it through attorneys right now anyway.
We will be able to run it through the attorneys. We have to run it through the attorneys. But, I mean, you mean before the public hearing?
Yeah. No, I'm not asking that really. I thought we had lost our funding for all but the 3.
It'll still need to go to the attorneys.
You can, leave as is, as you prefer, and wait for the attorney's feedback.
Okay.
I thought we were guided to have, and I can't remember where this was along the way, but if you completely eliminate something and say no, 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 like you say we shouldn't, at least this, we gave them consideration in a reasonable place to put it.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Well, as I'm reading it, 13, 14, and 11, sorry, there is no place to put it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
11, 13, and 14, as I'm reading it, there's no place to hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or put it. So you're outright prohibiting its use.
Okay. But we have the temporary.
Yeah, I mean, again, not best practice to permanently prohibit something in your ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to have that discussion after the public hearing?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Moving to page 4-9, there's an added provision for backlots. That is design criteria, the backlot driveway design standards are included within reference to section 5.33.c of the ordinance. So there's additional design considerations for backlot. I want to make sure I don't miss anything, but yes, 520, 521, at the very end of 520, we start talking about private streets as far as the classification.
Yeah, the definitions are already in the ordinance currently.
Yeah, I think what looks like you're doing is moving some of the criteria out of the definition, or at least providing the criteria in the actual zoning ordinance. That's generally what you want to do. If you have criteria only in the definition, sometimes that's overlooked. So that's a good place to put it. And then backlot driveways, same thing. Move ahead to very bottom of 522, item number 11. Applicant may request a waiver for private roadways to be composed of gravel for the planning board to consider if appropriate. I think that makes sense. All applications, number 12, proposing roadways to be privately owned and operated must include evidence of legal documentation, providing proof that an entity such as a homeowners association or roadway association is responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the roadway. I think that's pretty standard. Looks like the table's been updated. I don't want to go over every item, but maybe provide you a minute or two to make sure these look correct. I think some of the noticeable changes are material composition, where you move from gravel for a backlot driveway, gravel or paved for a private road, to bituminous or paved for a main or collector street. And again, with the added backlot driveway and private road, some of the standards such as sidewalks, requirements with base course gravel are not applicable. And then on the next page, 524, you allow provisions for waivers for roadway design standards. That is, I think, spelled out elsewhere that there's waivers available, but that is the process, so and criteria.
All right, so what we talked about.
Moving ahead to page 529. This may want to be edited upon your decision regarding the table of uses, but certainly it's standard to have them a minimum of 15 feet away from a residential zone property. That makes sense. It's just what your list will look like at the outcome of your discussion about the schedule of uses. Next section would be page 6-3, and this provides for other staff level reviews that can be reviewed by the code enforcement officer and town planner.
6-3.
6-3, item G and H.
D, okay. D and what?
G and H.
G and H, thank you.
Yes. So main criteria being projects less than 2,500 square feet.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Less than, basically less than a subdivision, 1 or 2 units.
Yep.
And the opportunity for town staff to elevate it to planning board review if deemed necessary.
So number 2, you're talking basically about a paved parking lot of 2,500, which would be 25 by 100.
Yeah.
Which is roughly twice the size of this room. All right.
Is under site plan review, page 7-2, under classification of projects. This just reiterates what we were last looking at as far as staff level review.
I think 7-2.
Criteria looks consistent.
Okay.
Skipping ahead to page 8-11. Give me a second. This refers back to the roadway design standard waivers process. That reference this section and this section is again the process for.
What number are you on in there?
Oh, I'm sorry. 2, required improvements, the last sentence. Criteria for the board to consider when granting waivers in association with roadway design standards is detailed. And again, we're citing section 5-8.
So what's 8 you want?
8-11.
8-11.
You have to give us time to read what,
Yeah, certainly.
what you're referencing.
And we're talking about number 2 submissions.
What's that?
We're talking about number 2 submissions?
Yes, number 2 on page 8-11.
Okay.
Under F, I'm sorry, F, sub item 2.
Sub-item 2.
Required
Here,
improvements.
okay. Got it.
I'm sorry, I still don't see that.
Page 8-11, look at top page F.
Up here, okay. All right. And then, thank you. I was wrong, too. Cheat sheet. Okay, all right, thank you.
Now, what should we do with that? That's what, the changes have been made, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just again, making sure that people are aware of the private roadway design
Yeah, okay.
standards and how you get a waiver from those.
Okay.
So I'll give you a second, but we're at the definitions on page 9-2 and 9-3.
Which one?
So these are the definitions of the uses that we were referring to in the updated schedule of uses as far as asphalt paving plants, temporary and permanent, backlot driveways, cement plants, concrete plants. Again, these would change with your decision or not change with your decision based on how you want to list the schedule of uses.
Okay.
So there's a definition for temporary concrete plant, 9.4 on the back.
Was that the only one? Was that the only definition you changed?
9.4, yeah. It was a new definition, not the
Well, 9.3.
top concrete plant temporary.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ours are not in color, so
Yeah,
it's...
so it's hard to see
Oh,
it. That's why we're
God,
trying
that's
to...
much, okay.
This is the old one.
I gotcha.
Previously, the different color.
All right, well. Next change is on page 9.8. Between mineral extraction and mobile home, we're adding a definition for a minor street.
Thank you.
Which is 10 or more lots. Then turn to 9-10. The beneath retail establishment, and actually the definition is in there for road, we're adding a sentence for clarification that it can be the same as a street, alley, avenue, boulevard, way, and other way. So that just looks like a cleanup. A lot of ordinances switch between road and street. This is just acknowledging that that's okay. And beneath road, private road is being adjusted to speak again now. The minor road was 10 lots or more. Private road is for 3 to 9 lots. And again, it'll talk about maintained by homeowners association or road association.
I have in my notes that it's as deemed by the select board and passes town meeting.
Yeah, voted on by the select board and approved by the general public at an annual town meeting.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, it's at the bottom. Yeah.
So next, next
On these, what, no, on these private roads, did we talk about mandating a road association within those?
I thought we did.
I thought we did. So, what we talked about was, you know, a private road ends up being somebody's campway in there and they sell a lot. All of a sudden, the road turns to, you know, a mess and we have an emergency situation in there where we have to go where we can't get to. So I thought we decided that at some point in the development of that private road, it would be mandated that there would be a road association.
We did, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, that was all the way back when we were looking at page 523.
So that's in there?
Yeah, at the very top, there's the statement, all applications proposing roadways to be privately owned and operated must include evidence of legal documentation proving that it is providing proof that an entity such as a homeowners association or roadway association is responsible for maintenance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think there's just one more. Page 9-11 at the very top, street. We are changing, or the proposal is to change the definition from 50 feet to 60 feet, right of right. And that's consistent with the changes that were in the road standard table.
Okay. Okay. I think we're ready to move forward.
Thank you very much.
Everybody okay? And hearing, we're talking about the 31st.
Yeah, do that in the meeting, but the 31st.
Okay, we're just doing the 31st, that's all. Yeah. We need, okay. Hello. All right.
Go ahead.
Good.
Bob,
Yes.
Mel had a question, I got a question.
Go ahead.
As far as a public way maintained by the town of Sebago, I live on a public way and the town plows it. Is that maintained? And they actually grade it?
Public easement.
It's a public easement.
Yeah, he lives on a public easement.
It would depend on the language in the easement, I guess. If it's,
So I'm asking, do we need to clean this up and be more specific?
well,
I mean, it's
how
talking
prevalent
about-
are public easements for,
They have a lot of them. We can add something.
yeah, if that's a common thing, I don't,
Can we say owned by the town?
yeah, I think that would,
Because those are private roads. The public easement is private
I don't
roads.
understand the public easement thing, because I'm on one as well. So am I not gonna get plowed now?
No, a public easement is a private road that the town plows and grades.
Towards the end.
Can we define ownership of that road? A town-owned road, not maintained by the town, say?
yeah, you may want to differentiate between ownership level. Because if it's I guess, is the HOA the underlying owner of the easement?
There is not one.
What's that?
There isn't an HOA.
Is there, so there's no association?
Right,
But the town doesn't own it, they have access to it.
correct. So I'm just trying to, you don't want to take a private road, you can't take a private road or an easement road and enforce a 60-foot right-of-way. I mean,
No.
people will have houses, you know. So that's all I'm trying to define is make sure we understand that it's clear that these are town roads,
Yeah.
not easement roads, not private roads.
I
Even though
think
we
you could
plow it.
even put a clause in there saying, you know, not including private roads on public easements.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want the town being on the hook for.
Yeah, no, it's, that's not something I've run across too much of. It really is almost like each one of those is a separate agreement, private agreement between whoever owns the property and the town. So the standards could vary. One
Yeah.
private road and public easement may say that they'll do maintenance and grading, one may say they don't.
Yeah.
I haven't, without looking at the language for all of them.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to eliminate though is maintenance,
Yeah, I gotcha.
digging culverts out and stuff like that. We don't want to be doing that on easements and such.
Under the road definition, where we've made the change, and at the end, we've got, in certain instances, a driveway. Shouldn't we have a definition for driveway? If you're gonna use that phrase.
Yeah, if there's not,
That's on page 9-10.
yeah, I would recommend.
Wait, is it 9-10? It's 9-10 in the old book, maybe different than this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is defined by kind of process elimination. A private driveway would be for 2 units or less, based on, it's not a private road, it's not a public minor, and it's not a collector, but it may help to define driveway.
Yeah, just because it says in certain instances, I think you
Yeah,
probably have to define driveway.
we can propose something, but it would be to the effect of serving 1 or 2 units, a private access way to
Yeah.
1 or 2 units.
That would be fine, sure.
Very good.
Are we gonna be responsible for coming up with the definition of driveway, or are we gonna pay somebody? to do
If
it?
you'd like, we can put something for your review.
I would look at it.
We can continue the conversation after the applicants.
We what?
Sorry, it's after 6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll ask a question later. Okay.
Don't forget Merle.
So I have several questions.
Now, we gotta get on with the meeting.
I know, that's what I'm getting at. Players, I don't know whether you're staying or going, but I can reserve them for the public comment period later if you'd like me to.
That's fine. I think that's fine. All right, thank you all. So let's end the workshop.
Let's stand up for 2 seconds.
What's that?
Let's stand up for 2 seconds.
Let's take just 2 minutes, and we'll start the meeting. Welcome to the March 10th Planning Board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The time is 6:16. Tonight's agenda is available at the sign-in sheet. Hopefully everybody's all set with that. And if you have not signed in, please do so as well. We'll take a roll call of those board members here in attendance. Paul White.
Present.
Tina.
Here?
Dave McCarthy.
Here.
Dave Welsh.
Here.
And myself. We'll also acknowledge the town staff present. Christina Robinson is a code enforcement officer. And we have, lost your name. There he is, Matt Panthel? Panthel, okay. Who's kind of replacing Brett Weedham today. And we also have Garrett Jones, our executive secretary. Thank you all. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a public proceeding, not a public hearing. And unless the planning board specifically votes to go into executive session, anyone here has the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits or materials that are presented. Please notify the chairperson if you are unable to see or hear, like you've been doing. The board works from a published agenda, which is available tonight at the sign-up sheet. Okay, so this evening, we're going to review minutes. We are going to talk about some new business. 781 Peabody Pond Road, a pre-application. We're going to be looking at another new business item on Blackhampton Road in 107. We'll be looking at that two-lot subdivision. We'll be, and we did have scheduled 61 Shore Road for this time, but those folks are not available. So we'll just, they'll let us know. I'm assuming we'll put them on again.
They're planning for the 14th, April 14th.
Okay. So we'll just put that in there for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so April 14th on Kevin Sheed. Very good. Is there any additional correspondence that we have?
I submitted or I gave you guys just a correspondence between Christina and the DEP, just asking some questions about this application, the Thurston application on 781 Blue Pond.
I have that there, so yep, very good.
And then there was also an email about an upcoming training.
Okay. Okay, very good. And could I have a motion to accept the minutes for everybody? The last meeting?
Motion to accept the minutes. Second it.
Second it. Okay, all in favor? Very good. So, any questions from the audience that's not related to these applications that we're talking about this evening? Okay, very good.
So is this my opportunity to ask questions going back to the workshop?
Go ahead.
Okay, bear with me, let me pull my notes. So, in prior conversations, my recollection was that the intention of some of these road definitions, new private road, et cetera, were not intended to be retroactive. Is my memory valid?
I believe so.
Should that be included someplace and a reference made to the date in which these changes occurred? Because I really thought it was intended to be a go-forward type change.
We're talking about
From the date of the
grandfathering.
enactment, yeah.
But that's not visible looking at the ordinance.
That's a good point.
That's a good one.
Do you think there should be some sort of an enactment date in the document that says from this date forward?
Right.
That's something.
That's a good point.
We can
And then
certainly have that.
I didn't have the opportunity to look at the draft that y'all were looking at. So I'd like to try to put the road changes in perspective. Just, I'm going to pick on the Back Nippon Road proposal just simply because it's current. So how many lots are we talking about on the Back Nippon Road?
We can't talk about
We can't
that.
talk about
Okay, can't talk about that.
It's an
Okay.
upcoming
So
plan.
let me approach it from a different direction. How many lots would a private road cover?
Less than 9, I believe, and going forward.
Up to 9.
Yeah.
Okay, but that would be considered a subdivision, I presume?
Considered a subdivision?
At some point, it could be both a subdivision
Yeah. Oh,
and a
yeah.
private road, but that would
So one of the things I've heard, and it was hard to put in perspective, is that some of these roads would require select board, potentially public approval, did I?
if they would be accepted as public roads.
If they would be accepted as public roads.
They would have to be brought up to public road standards. If they abutted a paved public road, they would have to be paved. And then the selectmen would have the discretion of accepting the road.
Okay, so let's say a proposal for a subdivision came forward, and it was going to have a public road, it's gonna be paved, it qualifies, so to speak. And it's September of the year. The next public, normal public meeting to approve that would be June of the following year.
Town meeting.
Town meeting. So you're saying that that subdivision approval would have to wait till June to get approved?
The road acceptance.
Possibly longer.
Subdivision could be approved, and then later the subdivision developer or the road whatever committee would go to the town and say, we'd like to have this road accepted as a public road. It meets all the qualifications. And then the selectmen have to agree, and then it has to go to the town meeting, I think.
Sounds a little problematic to me for a developer.
There's a whole set of standards there that I don't think has been brought up. I mean, just because you pave the road, I think there's a time frame in there.
Is it a
There's a
year?
time frame like a year, and there's also, I could be wrong, but 3/4, if you have 10 lots, 7 of them have been built out, I think. There's some percentages and some, Christina, you probably know.
I don't remember percentages.
I don't know that this is in the ordinance. I think, are you talking about the road acceptance policy?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's a policy and not an ordinance.
It is problematic, Merle. It could take up to 2 years, and I don't think it's any different in any other town. I mean, you're not gonna, the odds of you building a subdivision in a town road and having it accepted in the course of a year, that's probably not gonna happen. The developer's gonna be probably responsible for it for a year or two as far as plowing, maintenance. I think that's how it's set up now.
Some people in this room know I came from outside of Maine, and I can tell you, a year would be considered slow.
I'm just telling you what I've experienced. It's not that difficult to deal with. Unless I can get on board with you and we can make it, happen in a year, that'd be great.
Great.
I really think that should be an objective, to try to accelerate the approval process.
Thank you, Mark.
I support Merle.
Okay, anybody else? All right, let's move on to new business. So we're talking about map 039, lot 012, 781 Peabody Pond Road. A pre-application submitted by Andrew and Donna Deerstein for a proposed 30% expansion. First off, does anybody on the board have a conflict of interest?
I have property on Peabody Pond, the other side of the pond, but I don't believe it's a conflict.
Me neither.
I'm okay with that as well. Yep. Everybody okay? All right. Well, we should probably have a motion on that, so
I make a motion that Mr. White's ownership of property on Peabody Pond is not a conflict of interest for this project.
I'll second that.
very good. Any discussion? Okay, good. All in favor? Okay. Motion passes. Now, this is a pre-application meeting, and we need to determine whether the application is major or minor. Site plan review and request escrow and application fee to be paid by the applicant. Have any fees been paid thus far? Okay.
Yes, he's paid them all.
Okay. Major or minor?
It's minor.
Minor at this point, okay. And in each instance, it is the burden of the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of all applicable municipal ordinances and state law. So if the presenters would please stand and give us your full name and state your affiliation to this application. And please remain standing while the board or board staff is invited to ask any questions or provide comments, concerns, or requests to the applicant or applicant's representative regarding the project being reviewed. So, let's hear about it. Yes?
In the past, we've made a decision and voted on a major or minor project. So
Okay.
So after he does that, I guess we should make that happen.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I'm Andy Durstein. My wife and I live full-time at 781 Peabody Pond. We bought the camp almost 7 years ago. And 3 years ago now, we moved there full-time. So we're year-round full-time residents on the pond. The camp was originally owned, I guess, by John and Helen LaFleur, who were there for nearly 50 years. The camp was originally a 12 by 21 fishing camp that was built in the 60s. After the LaFleurs bought it, they added an addition in the 70s and put in full foundation, septic, plumbing, all the well. And that would have been in the mid-70s, so before the 1989 cutoff date for expansion. So all of my figures that we'll talk about and that we're looking at are mine pulling measurements. I've contacted DH2M, and so they're on board to do the formal survey, pool measurements, and they'll be available to do that end of April, beginning of May. So all of those figures are subject to revision based on more accurate measurements. So just kind of briefly, would it help to look at any particular pictures as I'm talking about this? Give me some feedback.
I think we all have pictures.
Okay. You did a great job on your pictures.
That's My wife gets all credit for that.
You have great sketches as well.
Yeah, I thought the sketches were outstanding.
So if you go to this one,
Yes.
okay, so that's a side view of the camp. To the left is Peabody Pond, and if you look at the second story addition up there, and for the moment, imagine that not there. That's the original camp, and that dotted line is where the existing camp, that's that 12 by 21 fishing camp that I was talking about. That's where that ends. So the lakeside front of the camp is 16 feet more or less to the high water mark. So what we're proposing is to, on the back side of the camp, the roadside, is do a 12-foot addition that is then 17 and a half feet or 17.3 wide. So that's the footprint. So the camp itself is like 1244 square feet. So we've got a 30% expansion would be around 380 square feet. And we're only looking to do, I think 188 is what it worked out to be, just based on the footprint. And then as well add a second story, part of which bumps back over the existing roof line, but stops at the 25-foot mark from the waterfront. And that second story, you know, would be under the 20-foot limitation for going up. It's a 2-bedroom camp now. It's going to remain a 2-bedroom camp. We're just moving, so that upstairs would be a bedroom with a full bath. The existing second bedroom would become part of the living room. So we're not expanding or adding any bedrooms. We're adding, there's one full bath in the camp now. We're adding a second full bath and a half bath. Beyond that, I'm happy to answer questions. You know, there's more detail in some of them.
What's the current water supply?
It's a well on site.
Drilled well?
Yeah.
And you have a leach field?
Yes.
And what's the current foundation of the building?
So that original fishing camp is on piers.
Right.
The addition is a cement block foundation with a full basement underneath it.
The addition you propose?
No, the addition that the LaFleurs put on back in the 70s.
So what do you propose to have when you finish?
So, yeah, I would propose that 12 by 17 addition would have footers underneath that. Not necessarily a full basement, but certainly concrete block.
You'll leave the original building up on the post?
Well, it depends. I think we'll probably have to get a structural engineer to look at everything and follow their recommendations.
That makes sense.
Here, just another visual. If you look at this one, sorry, I think in your package, that's labeled full frontal. Sorry. So that's the road side of the house. So this is the back side, away from the water. And the yellow outline is the existing structure and roof lines. And so you can see what we're proposing to do is come up here and extend it over another 5 feet beyond the existing, that 12 by 20 structure. So it's the same, it's a 10-12 pitch. So I maintain the same pitch, you know, just for continuity and appearance, really. But that's sort of a snapshot of what the old structure and new structure would look like.
Who did those drawings? Those are good. They made it make sense.
You saw these one.
Yeah, you have photos. I neglected to make copies of the photos myself.
Oh, that shows the entire lot on one thing. I hope we have that. And then you need to show the addition, I guess, set out. And this is how it exists, but what's it gonna look like when he's finished?
Yeah, so if you look at the site, so this end of the house right here, that's that 12 by 20 fishing camp, this end of it. Yeah, so this will come out 12 feet up, see where the walkway comes down? That 12-foot addition will cover over that part of the walkway.
And does this show we need this to show the entirety of the lot, all the dimensions, and then what exists before, and then what you propose to have when you made the change.
Yep.
And you satisfied as to the water and septic?
Well, the location of the well needs to be on the plan too.
Yeah.
The septic,
It actually is.
on the survey, I'm sorry.
Oh, on the survey, okay.
The
I
septic,
understand we need to see the whole lot, not just a portion of it, but all of it.
Okay. Like an official survey of it.
I don't know if it needs an official survey, but at least it shows the dimensions.
I mean, so that is, informally, that is what
That's
this
about
is.
it.
So these, this is based on my tax map. Those are the 250 feet of road front, 200 feet of shore front, and then basically 150 feet from the road to the water.
When you get your survey done by E2M, you're gonna show it to her anyway, and she's gonna say, you've got all the stuff, or you don't have all the stuff, so.
yeah.
But,
The septic was installed in 1974. I checked with a site evaluator today because they were a little different back then. And it looks like the septic that he has currently is good for less than 2 bedrooms. So he will probably need to upgrade the bed.
And if that's the case, it's a 50-year-old leach field, so
Yeah.
I can live with that.
So for the survey, you guys can add if you want, but this is what I have. He's gonna need to have the location of the home, the 25-foot setback, the high water mark, 75-foot setback, 100-foot setback, height of the structure at each setback, and the 30% expansion calculations along with the 20% non-vegetated area calculations on there, and the location of the well and the location of the septic. Did I say something already?
What about the trees that he wants to take down?
I don't think there's a lot of trees he needs to take down, and he has quite a few trees on the property anyway. I don't think he's gonna have a problem with the non-vegetated area. But he should still have it on there.
I think they should be shown where they are, what you take them
The
out.
trees that we want to remove?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're
They should say
literally
right next to
right
it.
up against the camp.
Well, that's what you said, they were right up against the camp.
Yeah, okay. And we're talking the 20% impervious surface
Right.
here? Yeah, okay.
It's still good to put in a couple extra trees,
Sure, sure. I
balance it
like
out.
trees.
Yep.
And then, I'm sorry, also the report from the structural engineer and the foundation. And that's all I have for things that I would request.
So you need that to complete the application.
Yeah,
And
if you
then
guys
we
have
need
more
to
to
decide if we needed a public hearing or a sidewalk. And that would allow us to go from this meeting to the next, where you bring in the information requested by the code enforcement.
Again, the surveyor's timeframe was end of April, beginning of May, so, that's.
I don't know whether they're really inclined to do either a sidewalk or a public hearing, but we should address those 2 issues before we
Absolutely.
send you along.
Okay. Any other questions first? From the board? Or thoughts? Okay.
so it's possible you could be wrapped up after your next meeting,
That would be nice.
if you got everything, and sometimes that happens.
Right, okay.
So,
The process, so the next meeting would be final approval if we have all the information?
We vote on your, provide the information requested by the code enforcement officer, would allow us to vote on your application, and then depending on anything else, we probably could vote for approval at that meeting.
You'll give Christina the information, she'll determine whether or not the application is complete. Bring it back before the board, we'll determine whether it's complete or not, and then, yeah, we could possibly vote on approving it at the next meeting if you get all the information.
Okay, great.
Do a good job.
Yeah. So do folks want to take a site walk?
Man, we'd like to see things.
I don't need to.
I don't believe we do, but we should address it. So I make a motion, we don't need a site walk on this.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Need to address the issue of public hearing.
And do we wish the board wish to hold a public hearing?
How many butters do we have here?
I don't know what the final number was, 6 or 7. No.
To mine.
Who has notified them? Or you haven't yet?
We don't do that for minor,
Okay.
but we will if you want to have a site walk. I'm sorry, a public hearing.
Yeah.
So let's address that right now first. Christina had mentioned that it's in her view anyway, a minor project.
Is there anybody that lives, like on the roadside across the road, that the view is gonna be obstructed at all by this, or?
No,
No.
no, not at all.
We got 7 abutters.
Yeah, three of those are direct abutters and the others were within, what, 500 feet?
Yeah.
Is there a vacant property across the street?
Yeah.
Do you know who the owner is?
Charles.
Do they have?
Charles Rochette, yeah. Yes.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
And he's fine with it?
Well, I don't know if these were sent
Yes,
out
no,
to the
yeah.
abutters. I haven't talked to him personally about it.
Okay.
I actually think it's probably a good idea to have a public hearing. It's on the water, there's
Yeah,
neighbors
because it's going
around.
up in the air and.
People are informed, there's quite a bit of change.
Yeah.
It's not like it's really, it is minor. It
Do you
seems
want
to
to
be
wait
minor.
for the public hearing till all the information is submitted? Or do you want to do that before?
I think we gotta wait till all the information's submitted, so, you know, we have something to talk about at the public hearing, right?
So he can bring it back and you guys can set a public hearing at that time, or?
Yeah.
We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah.
Good. Good to have that in the open.
Well, should we do it at the meeting after he gets all the information to you?
Well, I think I need a motion to have it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can do, can they do an open motion for a public hearing? Or do they have to set a date?
Yes, we would have to set a date and then it would have to be publicized. You could probably do it for the next meeting, but if you'd like to wait till the one after, you could do that as well.
How about if we make a motion that we schedule a public hearing at the first meeting after the code enforcement officer approves?
If you don't want to do it now, you can address it at the next meeting.
You should have a specific date. One thought would be you set it for the next meeting, and if necessary, it can be tabled.
That's sensible. We've done it before, that we had a public hearing and voted on the application and then voted on the project.
Yeah.
Unless the public hearing raises issues unthought of, we'd have to wait on the final
You said
vote.
May is when you'll be having the survey completed?
Late April, early May. My wife and I are also leaving in a week, for 4 weeks, so we won't be back until mid-April ourselves. I don't know if that has any bearing on it.
How about the meeting in May, we could set it for that date?
Public hearing.
And I'll check in with him.
Yep.
Right, what time that would be, what day of the week? It's Tuesday.
I make a motion, we have a public hearing for this project in our May meeting.
Second Tuesday.
May before our May meeting.
Yeah, May 12th.
May 12th.
May 12th, okay.
I'll second it.
Good. All in favor? Okay.
Question. So if they're able to come, say, late April and do the survey, I don't know how long it takes them to prepare the report. You'll need to have that in hand for the public hearing?
No.
No?
We needed to vote on the application.
Right.
Go ahead, Greg.
I just have a question. If it's a minor expansion, which it appears to be, I don't see the necessity for a public hearing.
The only
Unless it's in black and white someplace.
Yeah. I mean, if
if I'm a neighbor and I'm not happy that he's putting on an addition, too bad.
I'm just thinking about the lot across the road. I mean, if you could get Mr. Fischett to sign off on it, saying, I'm fine with this, addition. Because he's the only one you're gonna block, right? I mean, as far as.
Yeah, and I mean, there's such an elevation gain going from our lot to across that it's 100 feet above our.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Well, that's where a sidewalk comes in, you get the topography, the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And
But
as
I
long
can
as-
certainly talk to Charles.
I mean, because if he's all right with it, I mean, who else do you have to worry about as
the
far as the public hearing goes?
If the addition stays within the height things of
The
the roof line,
Yeah.
it's too bad that the neighbor doesn't particularly like your addition. You're within the ordinances of the town. And a sidewalk would have told us that he was way up and the 9-foot addition for the roof line's not gonna make a bit of difference.
Okay.
I mean, that's why I was talking about common sense. Put the pieces together.
Just to throw this out, and no one's gonna like that, like this comment, but in all the abutting towns, this would never even be at a planning board. The code enforcement officer would be handling this with the maps and the list that Christina just explained. Doesn't necessarily need planning board review. That's just my 2 cents.
feel that we need a public hearing, but if others want to do it.
Well, it seemed like everybody wanted a public hearing, that's why I made the motion,
So I have no objection to a public hearing, except that, I don't know necessary, but if others feel it is, I have no problem with it.
Well, can I make a motion to rescind the public hearing?
Did you vote for it? You voted positive for it, right? You can do that.
If you didn't vote on it, I don't believe.
So I would be,
5-0 on that. 5-0, I think I've done doing that.
yeah, so I would be okay if you would make sure that you inform all the neighbors what you're doing.
Beyond what I've already
The
submitted?
informing of the neighbors is by voting for public hearing, and they'll be informed according to the process. That's what you'd like to do. I don't know if it's necessary on this minor project, but if that's what the board wants to do,
I'm saying
fine.
it's okay, I would love him to do that.
You want a written
to do that, and
statement?
then I would be okay with not doing the public hearing.
Okay.
It's not necessarily the procedure.
I
don't know about that.
He's got a minor project on his own lot. Why do we have to go through a public hearing notifying the neighbors when he's staying within the ordinances of the town? So he's doing what he's supposed to do, and therefore the neighbors should have no say in what he does on his lot.
Bingo.
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, if you were building something, a 150-foot structure to launch a rocket, okay, we're gonna have a public hearing, sir. But you're putting a bedroom on the second floor.
Yeah, I'm basically going up somewhere around 8 feet.
That's what I'm, hello?
Okay,
I'll withdraw my recommendation.
Make a motion to rescind that.
Yeah, make a motion to rescind.
I'll make a motion to rescind the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you, I second that.
All in favor?
So,
Bingo.
with what we, he knows what he needs for the application. We're not gonna have a public hearing, we're not gonna have a site walk, and the fees are paid, so we probably have addressed this guy's business.
You better stick to the plan.
But
I'm
that
gonna put an
doesn't,
observatory in.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, do you want me to talk to Charles, or is that not a part of it?
It's not necessary.
Okay.
It's not necessary.
If you wanna be a good neighbor and
we
say,
do want you to talk to Christina, because she'll get it straightened out on what's needed for the app.
Sure. Okay.
Okay?
you're good to go.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. I'll be in touch.
All right.
Maybe the other one is gonna be
Yep. All right, so let's move on. As soon as I find them.
Step right up. Make yourself at home.
I like to at least wait until I'm called.
Oh, you.
There it is. Okay. So next, map 011, lot 016, back Nippon Road and Route 107, Bridgeton Road. Sketch plan application submitted by Dina Homoliski. That's more difficult to pronounce than my last name. For a proposal of a 14-lot subdivision. Now, does anybody have a conflict of interest regarding this application?
No.
Just like.
Paul?
No.
Okay, thank you. And this is a sketch plan application. And so it follows much more the same path we just went through. So let's see now. Any fees been paid at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Again, in each instance, it's the burden of the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions and all the municipal ordinances and laws. So if you would, let's hear about it, and we will ask you some questions for sure, and go from there.
That is my goal. My name is James Lowry. I am a civil engineer with BH2M. We've been retained by Deanna Homoliski and her sister, Lauren Campbell. They are two daughters that somewhat recently inherited this property from their mom had recently died. It was Robert and Claire Coates, if you guys know them from town. As you see, I'm gonna actually, as I go through this, I'm gonna flip this around. This is a 65, 66 acre property. We're still in the very preliminary stages of doing anything with this design. Still need to go through and do a full boundary survey, but wanted to present the sketch plan to you all, get some feedback from staff, get some feedback from you guys. If there's any neighbors here that have questions, I don't mind answering them, whatever. However you guys want to handle this. But effectively, this is a property that's got a very small piece of frontage right along Route 107.
Could I ask you to shift that sideways a bit so the audience can see as well?
Yep, move it.
Oh, turn it this way. We're good.
We'll get the podium out of the way.
Yeah. How we quite can do this,
Yeah,
but
as best you can.
perhaps
You
something
guys see
along
that
those lines?
reasonably well?
We have a copy.
Yeah, we've got
all have a
small
copy.
copies.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry about us. Yeah.
We'll do this then. Turn it a little more.
And does that show the entirety of the parcel owned by your client?
This
That does.
sheet does. So what we have is the whole piece that's shown that I was gonna just walk into. We've got a very small portion of it right down here in this area that abuts Route 107. The remainder of it comes on up and has frontage for hopefully what we will determine as we go through the process of whether this back Nippon right-of-way, that's really one of the bigger questions we have, is whether that right-of-way is still in existence. Has it been discontinued by the town? Of course, there's no, you all know, there's no improvement, any significant improvement to go up back Nippon, used by snowmobilers, four-wheelers. I heard at the last meeting that you get an occasional Jeep that goes up there and gets stuck and who knows what. But where we are with the project is we've developed this sketch plan based on a couple of different regulatory parameters that we felt see are pretty important and follow most of the time. You've got an ordinance requirement for a 60-foot right-of-way up through there. So based on the tax map data, what we would propose as a right-of-way would encompass the back Nippon right-of-way, if it has not already been discontinued, and expand on that slightly into the subject property to create the 60-foot right-of-way. You also have a limit that I saw, I think it's in the subdivision ordinance, for a 1,200-foot length of road. So this length of road shown, and keep in mind, this gray is simply the right-of-way, not the actual width of the road, is shy of 1,200 feet to where the cul-de-sac would then start and loop around. And, you know, I noted in the Sebago Technics memo, they mentioned a hammerhead. That could be something we look at. I don't know how that would play in with your opinions on things with having a hammerhead versus a hammerhead.
What we've done in this town is have loops with little islands in the middle.
Yep.
That is because it allows for easier plowing in the wintertime. If you just have a little 60-foot turnaround, doesn't really allow them to plow very effectively. But if you have a larger loop with a little island in the middle, that allows for more effective plow.
Yep, and that's essentially what we looked at based on the dimensional requirements in the ordinance, you know, and also seeing what was up and done on this, you know, neighboring subdivision just up off of 107. A wetland delineation, all these little greener areas, pockets through the site are based on a wetland delineation that was done just this past summer in 2025. A vernal pool assessment, there was a couple of vernal pools that would require some follow-up to determine if they were significant or not, is planned on being conducted this spring. So as long as, you know, you guys don't tell me something tonight that completely shuts the project down, that is expected to happen this spring, and then we would know from there, you know, what types of, you know, if any kinds of significant vernal pools we would have to deal with through the state requirements. A couple of other natural resource type considerations. Up in this portion of the project where most of the lots are proposed, based on your shoreland zoning maps, there's a 75-foot stream setback. It's more or less that orangish line. Then that expands out per your shoreland zone map to a 250-foot shoreland setback. I think where this area, and I'm not greatly familiar with the project, but it looks like there's a fairly substantial wetland complex associated with the stream as you work your way up away from 107. So I think that's probably where this rolls out into a more of a broader 250-foot shoreland zone area. Ultimately, neither one of those setbacks, as they're depicted, is going to have a significant impact on how we have, you know, how we've laid this out right now, because it's down towards the backside of the lots behind the wetlands, but they're there.
The wetlands last summer, of course, were probably quite dry.
Yeah, they go through the whole process of looking at soils, vegetation, so whether it's, I mean, you can do a wetland delineation, it's not recommended necessarily in the winter, but even in the fall as vegetation starts to, you know, die off, they know, the wetland scientists know what they're looking at from a fall vegetation versus, you know, spring.
Okay, thank you.
So that's roughly the overview that I had, and a couple of things we were hoping. I always like to use the sketch plan process to be able to understand any questions, concerns, anything that a board may have. A couple that that I had thought of prior to the meeting, you know, effectively number one, if there's any local knowledge or records of the ability to access up through the entirety of the back Nippon right-of-way, if by chance that has been discontinued officially, formally discontinued, then typically the property of the abutters would go to the center line. So, and again, that's something we may discern a little bit better once we get in and do a boundary survey. If there was any concerns over the length of the road, all of these lots are laid in based on the village zoning district standards, 40,000, I believe, square feet. Yeah, 40,000 square feet with 100 feet of frontage. Most of these are in excess of that because you've got the frontage issue. Sebago Technic's brought up that you have a provision that doesn't allow spaghetti lots. So some of these, where, say this lot here is 64,000, we could shorten that up, add some more land into the remaining land of the Homoliskis to meet whatever ordinance requirements. We did try and lay the lots out. Lot 3 would have a small wetland crossing with a driveway to come up into a building window. The remainder of them, though, I think you could get a decent house lot and driveway without really going across and having any significant wetland impacts.
So, also some provisions in that ordinance for the set aside of land and conservation, where it talks about the reduction in size of lots. And that was done at the little project up here, the first little turnaround as you head up the hill on the right. It was, and Kurt's done it on some of his projects where there's a down one, I think it's the one on the Folly where there's a certain portion of the project was set aside in conservation, and that might be what we would look at with the swampy area that might be set aside as conservation, but it's just a thought. And also, it's as to the right-of-way, it may have the, like I said, I don't know the status of it, but others up above your project may benefit from that right-of-way, the ability to pass up through into their project, into their lands, so.
Yeah. No, I don't know, we were talking before the meeting, there was some questions about closing off access to ATVs or snowmobiles. In my opinion, if this is a public right-of-way, it would remain a public right-of-way, it would just be improved, so that you'd have a road up through there and access to the lots. Where it's 60 feet, there's, I would guess, ample space width-wise to be able to put a good-sized road in, ditches, and, still have room perhaps for, a dirt trail or something like that for ATVs or snowmobiles that don't want to go up the paved, presumably paved or gravel road. We haven't even gotten that far yet.
Well,
Would this subdivision be a candidate for a fire pond, dry hydrant? Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, there's one actually there's a hydrant right there.
Oh, there is?
Stream.
Yeah, I would be going towards the cistern tank though, because the same thing that we had with this past summer with the drought, that hydrant was almost completely out of water. A lot of our dry hydrants this past summer were dry.
So what I'm getting at though is that Back Nippon Road was once a public road and for whatever reason it's no longer in use. It doesn't mean that those up beyond your client's project don't have a right up across that existing right-of-way, even though it was maintenance was abandoned by the town to access their project. So, and I don't know, saying one way or another, that's something you have to, basically, the applicant who has to provide us evidence.
Right, no, and that was never, again, in my thought, where if this is still a public right-of-way, it would always
It may not
continue
be a
to.
public right-of-way because of the abandonment of maintenance by the town, but it may be a private right-of-way for the property owners up beyond yours.
Yeah.
When the town abandoned it, doesn't mean they lost their right to cross that, right, to their property up above.
Exactly. No, and I don't think the intention would ever be to quote-unquote gate this off for only these 14 lot owners and the Homoliskis. So, I think that.
Like I said, is you need to satisfy yourself at some point because someone could come along and say, no, I own property up on the west side of Brown's Pond, and my access has always been up to that Nippon Road, though I haven't gone up there in years.
Right. Depending on the status of the road, the inlet to Backington Road, if that's not a current road, I would wonder if that angle's too steep. You know, you're supposed to get as close to 90 degrees, not an over 60 degree angle of the 107.
Right, and I mean, and that's where we haven't laid a, you know, within this grade 60-foot right-of-way area, you know, you'd probably have I don't know exactly what the road width is, I've got it in my stuff. Let's say 22 or 24 feet of pavement, and we could, you know, come down, and even if it had to adjust down in this area with the right-of-way, to be able to bring it down and turn it at a little bit of a 90 right at the end to, maybe not exactly 90, but close to 90, to be able to come out at that, at whatever the requirement is for the road.
Between 60 and 90, yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
And is there a frontage requirement on 107 to support a project of that size? I mean, you've got maybe, I don't know, 200 feet along 107, is that enough frontage on a major road to support the project you have in mind? That's just a thought, I don't necessarily know the answer for that.
But the frontage requirement in that zone is 100 feet, so I would think that it would still be a conforming lot from a frontage standpoint. Now, certainly, you know, one of the things that we talked about, where we looked at, is that it certainly wouldn't, between the stream protection zone, you've got a floodplain line that cuts down through here. That's that purple line right up through here is the 100-year floodplain. You know, you couldn't realistically get two entrances onto 107.
When I'm talking about two entrances, what I'm saying is that you have a project of 14 lots coming off of 107. Is there a minimum requirement along 107? And this is just a question, not an answer. Is there a minimum requirement along 107 to support the number of lots you have? It's addressed as much to you guys as anybody else.
That'd be a state question, because it's a state road.
If the standard, I don't have the standards in front of me, but if the standard for that district is 100, then
that would support.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unless you have
state roads need to get a driveway permit.
Correct.
So,
thank you.
I have on page 710, and I think it's a subdivision greater than 9 lots, and I haven't found that part. That's what I'm desperately hunting for. But there should be some public usage areas, like a playground or a green area, because there is such a high density of people there.
okay, well, that's good. So,
It goes to the question of, you have to view the entire lot, not just one chunk of the project. This talks about how there's phased-in projects and stuff. Do you have any intentions for the remaining land you'll have in here?
no, not at this point. It's just
Well, not at this point, but that's why they have the provision.
right.
To ask questions about what may be the final
Yeah, I mean,
disposal.
at this point, the 14 lots, it really plays in very nicely with the road length standard that you guys have. The frontage available, frontage around a cul-de-sac, and staying to 14 lots, which keeps you out of the site location of development process with the state DEP. So that's, you know, their most strenuous, onerous, I guess, type of review that they have for intended for much larger projects. But, you know, effectively, right now, what we have proposed are the road, the 14 lots, and then the remaining area, which is about 43 acres, would remain in ownership by the two sisters that own the property.
But you learn, and you know, I mentioned earlier, there's a portion of the ordinance that talks about setting some land aside as to make up for the concentrated allowance of concentrated lots or smaller lots. to set some portion of probably the swampier portion aside for conservation or, as you said, for some sort of recreation. That's something to think about.
Yep.
And also, if you settled into this, you might find yourself in a situation where to access your remaining land, whatever that might be, you'd be limited by our backlot provisions to say two lots. As long as you know.
Yeah, I mean, and right now, as I reviewed the ordinance, that I think it's 1,200-foot road length would be ultimately the more limiting factor, and then we'd have an access easement to come back through for a back lot there.
Given our backlot provisions, that might limit what those two lots. And also you need to answer the question for your own purposes about who might have a right-of-ways up through there.
Right.
When I was looking at this, I was looking at lots, particularly lots 4, 5, and 11. It seems though those 3 lots have a lot of wetland. Is it really feasible to build a house with that much wetland on your property?
Yeah,
I mean, somebody else's decision, but
I mean, this lot probably, lot 3, you definitely would have, there's a narrow area right there that would make sense to do a driveway crossing.
yeah.
But you still have an area right up in lot 3 of about, 200 by 100 feet.
Yeah.
Same with lot 4. This area right up in here is a fairly sizable building window. Lot 11, or maybe 10 could be the one, you were thinking the wetland would narrow it down, but, again, between your setback over here, without a scale, you're probably, 75 feet, which is pretty good for a home. You can configure, somebody wanted a garage to sort of do your architecture to set it in the front or do whatever and fit a lot in there.
Yeah, okay. Now, is it, when you say wetland, I'm envisioning water in the basement.
Yeah, I mean, and a good thing,
In the spring.
this is all based on LiDAR topography, but there is a fair amount of topography, relief and change as you work your way down to the stream and wetland area. So it'd be plenty of room, I'd anticipate plenty of room to daylight foundation drains and things like that.
So these lots would have underground utilities? Or?
That would be determined. We haven't even thought about whether we would run overhead or underground up through there. I don't know if the town has a standard for.
I guess it depends on whether it's considered a dead-end street, because if it's in excess of 1,000 feet, then it's mandatory that you have underground.
Okay.
So, at least according to section 8, page 9.
Which section was that?
Section 8, page 9.
I mentioned to the board that we did the project on 107 and Folly Road, that sort of corner there, as you head up on the right. When we did that, we allowed lots along the road, but in the back lot, there was access, but limited development ability for the place in the back. So that might be a similar situation.
Okay. We've got a list from Sebago Technics in terms of things to consider along the way. And did you get a copy of that?
I did. Yep.
Good.
Which one is this?
Let me just.
Is this the one dated February 24th?
Yes. I thought we might just talk about that just for a minute.
Certainly.
Just so the audience can hear what that's all about. So let me be brief with each, just to raise them as considerations to look for, because there's quite a bunch here. All right, so in terms of land use, provide documentation essentially supporting how each lot will provide sufficient water and methods of disposing waste.
Yep, do you guys presume there's no public trash pickup? Everything would have to go to the transfer station?
Number 2 was, in future submissions, of course, the type and method of water supply to be implemented across the subdivision. It's individual wells, we understand that. But we want to know where they're all located, all those kinds of things, or whether or not there's good soil there to do that. Under erosion, should a sedimentation and erosion control plan be put in place? There's a fair angle through that area, fair droppage. For traffic, should provide a statement on estimated traffic volumes. The impact will be on volumes, and mainly to find out if there needs to be a permit from the state on that, different hours. Also in there is turning template. But obviously, we've already talked about roadway standards, so you have that ready. In terms of sewage disposal, it's in terms of all the leach fields and stuff that are going to be there. Probably some test pits to make sure that those are capable of being used that way within those lots. Solid waste, that's just how you, during construction, you handle solid waste and the likes. That'll go. Let's see, other ones that we'll talk about under local ordinances and plans. Yeah, it's just that providing a statement on how the proposed project meets the standards that we have within our ordinances, including the shoreline portion down below. And under financial capacity, ensuring that there's financial and technical capacity to complete the proposed subdivision in a reasonable time frame. In terms of 11, which is surface waters and outstanding river segments, how the adjacent surface waters or the abutting stream is not adversely affected by the proposed project. Go ahead.
To tie in with that one, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
The phosphorus concentration due to drainage with the stream, that one jumped out at me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So review if this is going to a great pond or a pond that you all have in your ordinance that requires that?
Near the stream going in, what's the pond that stream goes into? Mud?
Mariner Pond.
Mud?
Mariner Pond.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, so that stream does go into a pond, so it should have, I think, with that size, that's a pretty good sized development. It's not gigantic, but it's good size. If you think about just all the soap in the washing machines.
Sure.
You know, okay, thank you.
The phosphorus.
Yeah.
Groundwater, evidence on how available quality and quantity of groundwater will not be affected by the proposed project because it's sizable again. Under the flood area stuff, just being sure to provide suitable locations so that the lots will fit a house and adhere to flood area standards, those kinds of things, so that everything can fit properly. And in the wetlands themselves, to just statement if any freshwater wetlands are anticipated to be impacted, and whether or not you'll need a special permit for that through the Natural Resources Protection Act. What else we got here? Let's see. Show that each lot is capable of siting a home and driveway without substantial impacts on the natural resources. Being careful how everything is set up. For example, lots 3 and 8, would the applicant sell the lot to a buyer, and then the buyer would be responsible for permitting wetland impacts associated with the driveway, or are you going to do them all at once, essentially? Get permits for all of it all at once through the Army Corps of Engineers. And stream and brook really is the same kind of thing that Tina was just talking about, which is how it will impact that adjacent stream. Does it need buffers? Just preserved to the greatest possible extent. Stormwater, it's just again showing what your plan is for doing that and how that's going to run because of the inclines and the lakes we have. Just don't want to affect that stream very much. On 17, the spaghetti lot thing we talked about, the standard on that in town is 5 to 1, the max we can do there. And Tina's talked about phosphorus there. If there's any plans along the way for, what's called liquidation harvesting, which is clear cutting essentially in the area. I doubt that, but I'm hopeful not.
Yeah.
In terms of preparing for all the houses and the lakes there. Very good. And there's some roadway design things and turning radii and easement assessment and things like that. That's about all there is for that. And also, most importantly, at the end, of course, is making sure to check in with the fire department in terms of all the access and, make sure that works. Make sure all safety requirements in that. Anything else?
Give you enough to work on?
It's all, it's always the typical laundry list of things that, you're used to working with.
Good. One quick question. How did you determine this was a 20-foot right-of-way?
We did not.
Okay.
We looked at this as a 60-foot right-of-way.
No, I get that, but you say the town's right-of-way is a 20-foot right-of-way.
No. I don't think so. We've got a 20-foot access easement up here that we've sort of shown just for access off of this within the property to the remaining land. That's what that was intended to be.
Okay. Is that not the continuation of Back Nippon Road?
It would run right alongside Back Nippon Road. But when we put this together, we weren't quite sure what the status of Back Nippon Road was. So we wanted to make sure, whatever we did, we maintained,
Okay, thank you.
I go on. There was also, I think, reference in the memo, which may have been a little bit of a misinterpretation. There's an area, based on this, the tax map, this, is definitely narrower than 60 feet. So we would have a little bit of area within the property that would be, deeded as part of the right of way. So.
We just had a gentleman come in that knows a little bit about the area up there. And, we were talking, no, the question that I'm asking you, look, is hard on me. They were questioning whether Back Nippon Road was ever retracted, the town ever, let it go, I don't know that answer. You don't? Because you said it was like a trail, that's all.
It is a trail.
Yeah.
It once was a public road.
Yes.
But we don't know what time it was abandoned.
Abandoned it.
I think it's like a statutory thing. The Maine statute talks about these old paper roads and the time frame that the town hasn't done anything, if I recall.
And that goes either way.
I think there's a process the town has to go through.
Oh, yeah, to make it a,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't think it's ever been done.
Right, typically, if a town abandons a public right-of-way, it's voted on at town meeting, there's record within the town meeting minutes that would indicate that.
Yeah, I think it's a process.
Oh, no, there's a definite, look at Stickman.
Well, historical data will show you that the town in the past has gone, or if they want to abandon the road, it needs to go to town meeting in June or July, whenever that is. And it needs to be brought up there and the town will vote on it, whether or not it needs to, if it continues to be a road or gets.
So if it was abandoned, there would be a record of the abandonment from the record of
I
town
would need to
meeting.
know a time frame to start looking.
Yeah.
Probably first half of the century. The 20th century.
Which century?
It's chiseled on a stone.
Well, put it
It's
this
on a
way, it's
stone.
shown as a public road on the map of 1871. And by the time, I think when I was a kid, it was abandoned for a long time. So somewhere in that time frame.
It was a four-wheel drive road in '63, I can tell you that.
So maybe.
Still is.
What happens is they generally didn't abandoned the road, they abandoned maintenance of the road. In other words, no one was living up there, so they stopped.
So the right of way is still there.
That's, someone has to end it.
Yeah, effectively, that's,
Who knows?
you know, that's one of our questions, is you've got this right of way shown. Is there anything to preclude a private landowner from upgrading it for their use? And, you know, number two is if it was abandoned, then if there was any records, which then, you know, almost by default, the properties on each side would expand to the center line. So that would, you know, just play into the total area of the site. And then again, too, you know, if that were to have happened, then effectively, we wouldn't be looking to utilize the full width of the right-of-way. We'd be limited to the half that was over on the Homelisky side, which would, you know, force the road to come up through and clip these wetlands a little more. So it's a benefit for us to be able to use it for both permitting and wetland impacts.
That might help you with spaghetti lots, so if you had to move that.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not far from okay.
right. Yeah, and like I sort of mentioned with that, and we've got, most of these lots, we've got about 20,000 square feet of play where we could cut and help with that 5-to-1 ratio. So, you know, it's all like this is very preliminary. We just wanted to, you know, introduce the project to the planning board, get some feedback. You know, we've heard, you know, both at the last meeting, just anecdotally, and tonight, some good feedback from people in the area that know a lot more about the site than I do, so.
Is it frightening you away? Does it still sound, as you listen to all of
It's
it?
not frightening me away, but this is work for me and money that somebody else has got to spend, so we'll have that conversation in the morning. But again, we wanted to, I mean, I'm not hearing anything that would keep me, you know, or would be a big red flag that I would go to him and say, no, you know, I don't think you should proceed with a vernal pool study or a boundary survey, or a little more so that he would understand, or they would understand a little more of what they've got in the land record. So.
Any other questions of the board?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so yes, indeed, let's hear some comments from the
Questions. I'm new to the area, so.
I understand.
So the total acreage that the sisters own is 64, 65 acres.
Yeah, about 65 and 66. Yep.
So how many acres would this 14 lots encompass?
Including the road, about 20, I've got it written down here, about 23.
And this is one you didn't provide us a copy of, that
Right.
Oh,
showing the entire thing.
yeah, I'm sorry, I thought both of those were sent in.
This accommodates maybe 45%, 45%, and then you have a large amount remaining.
Right.
So that would, as part of our ordinance, we're allowed to address the potential development of that in the future.
Yeah, so this area right here, roughly 23 acres. The area back on behind is about 43 acres.
So what's the proposed range of lot size?
Generally in the, you know, I think some are right there at closer to the 40,000 square foot minimum. So you've got, these couple are about an acre, just shy of an acre. No, just above an acre, excuse me. You know, up to lot 11, 12, 14 are in the 2 to 3 acre range.
Okay. And where, in reference to the subdivision, approximately Mariner Pond? Mariner.
Across the street. Mud City Pond.
That is not city pond, that's the one.
Is that down in this
They call
area?
it Mariner.
Farther up? Nope.
No, it's really just kind of across the street, across one of the.
Oh, just right up in here.
It's like right in here.
Yeah, I got you.
And just for your information, the reason I'm asking is looking out my backpack, I can see that.
Okay.
So, just trying to put it in perspective.
Yep, yep.
And How many adjacent landowners are there?
You probably, looking just off of this, I don't know exactly there, but, you've got a handful, probably 20-ish.
I mean, immediately adjacent.
Correct. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I see, I can't see them.
6, 7,
We got a whole bunch of them.
11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know how many, we didn't pull in the line work over there. I don't know, across the stream. Really, would be well away from this project.
And the stream itself runs west to east?
Yeah, more in a northwesterly to southeasterly direction, I think, from looking on that, picturing my, looking at the maps and Google Earth and everything.
And so it drains into this Mariner or Mud City Pond?
Yep.
Okay.
If you look at the beginning lot provision, a lot of these look like they would not meet the 5-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's something we need to look into.
Those are my questions, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, all right, I would say that you mentioned access and build out of remaining possible build out as part of things we can address. I think this is probably a major project, so we should. But at the current status, this is a pre-application meeting.
Yep.
No.
It's a sketch plan.
It's just a sketch.
Sketch plan application.
Yeah.
Because we've raised a number of things, and he's gonna have to go back and address the spaghetti lot issue, because I think that's gonna affect what he can do. And probably a larger turnaround with an island in the middle that would make it possible to be better maintained for winter maintenance.
Did you see that?
We need to find out the status of the back Nippon Road, whether it still has a town right or.
He said we prefer
neighborhoods.
Okay, so getting back to section 8, page 9, the terminus of any dead-end street must have a cul-de-sac with standards as listed in section 5, table 5-1. Other types of turnarounds may be approved by the planning board after receiving a recommendation by the fire, EMS chief, and the public works director. So Phil feels like he wants a hammerhead there, then
Hammerhead would be preferred because it also gives us another LZ spot, landing zone for light flight.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Use
So
that as
Phil-
well.
fire chief and the public works director would be the ones that you...
To go, I mean, are you opposed to a cul-de-sac?
Not opposed to it, it just by having a hammerhead, it would give us the other option of an LZ. We're limited in this area of town for landing zones, especially come winter time.
Right.
Our other landing zone is at church when Mother Nature allows for, ample snow removal, but when it's not, the next landing zone is down at the school.
Okay.
Which is on 115, so that's all.
City, right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, because typically a lot of towns, once you get into a little bit of a larger subdivision, more than, say, 5 lots, they steer you away from using a hammerhead turnaround, so.
You said there's options of the hammerhead or maybe an island that's kept open in the middle.
Yep. No, as we get into this.
Did you land at, Mayfield or Mayberry or whatever?
Maryfield.
Maryfield. Could you land a helicopter there in the middle of that?
Not in winter.
Not in the winter? That's right, you gotta be cleared off. All right.
Well, a hammerhead might be more appropriate depending on the status of that road anyway. So if the road continues down through and the town still does own it or whatever.
Oh, sure. I mean, and even, I think either way, with a cul-de-sac or a hammerhead, we can figure that out, so.
Molly Lane, just for a heads up, Molly Lane on Long Hill is a hammerhead. So, that's another LZ for us.
Any other comments?
Just reading that, since I grabbed my
You might,
little section of the ordinance, I was just reading through that one you were talking about with 1,000 feet. Oh, any dead-end streets, there we go. Additional land utilities underground, minimum pavement 22, okay. I'll keep that, that in mind as we go through and I look at this a little closer as we do, do full design plans.
you might also consider allowing a 60-foot right-of-way along Back Nippon Road up along the length of your client's property. And that way, you might avoid the issue of others coming and claiming they've been constrained on their access. Just a thought.
Okay. All right. And I'm sure further on, we're going to want a site walk.
Yep.
We can deal with that at that point, but we can vote on that now if we wish.
Well, this
I'm sure we're waiting for them to come back with maybe some changes, especially as it relates to the spaghetti lots.
We can do that then.
And then I think it would be appropriate to have both a sidewalk and a public hearing.
We'll actually have to have two public hearings for a major project. yeah.
Preliminary and final.
Yeah. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay.
No, thank you for your feedback, appreciate it.
I'll keep you off the street for a while.
Yeah, we'll keep you busy.
Any other business to consider? Set a date?
Yeah, do you want to make a motion?
So our next planning board meeting is going to be.
Just one thing.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. So our next planning board meeting is 31st?
Yeah, do you want to make a motion to schedule a public hearing? Do you want to make a motion to schedule a public hearing?
Yes, let's do it. So,
What time?
we're talking a public hearing for the ordinance. Does that make sense? Or should we do it later?
Public hearing?
Yeah.
We gotta give people a chance to get here.
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Let's just start it at 6.
31st. Yep. We still have public hearing on the 31st at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Bob, you still have changes we have to even vote on.
Yeah.
Then the next meeting after that will be a normal April meeting.
We're gonna have to see this for sure, shortly.
You would have to approve Mr. Moore.
Are we gonna have another meeting? We're gonna have
Okay.
are we gonna be able to get this done for town meeting?
Let's
Yeah, I mean, realistically,
A public hearing. Geez, you gotta
Have a workshop at
you'd have to have
5
a meeting, approve them, and then have the public hearing.
Yeah, we'd have to get together.
Public hearing would be at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
we're talking about the ordinance.
We have to publish the ordinance. They will have to be published, yeah. So let's, have some thoughts on that in terms of, we're trying to get the public hearing lined up.
Could you have the public hearing?
Guys, want to chat?
We know the basic changes that I want to make to the ordinance. And if you wanted to make any substantive changes, you would have to either push the public hearing back, or even if you do another public hearing after the.
Actually, you know, guys.
Do like a public hearing with comment, stating that I don't know. There's like minor changes, wording or something like that. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah.
But what do we have for changes?
Actually, we've already 2 times gone over all the changes. So,
But did you have anything else like this workshop that you wanted to add to it?
No, I don't think so.
Because if that's the case, then.
We have to
They'll like that.
the fire hydrant ordinance.
Yeah,
Speak up, guys. Can't.
we're talking about the fire hydrant
We
ordinance.
have changes to the fire hydrant ordinance.
Yeah.
And then there's the definition of a driveway, and What other changes were there?
You would wanted, please, got something.
Yeah, I was able to, during the break, do a little bit more research. The proposed uses you want to prohibit, you can. There are certain uses the state says you can't, even though you have home rule, but that doesn't apply to any of these, so I would recommend leaving as is.
Okay, so the only change to that is just adding a driveway definition?
Yeah, and I think there was adding a statement about effective date.
Oh, yeah.
I can, go through it with Brett as well, but,
Effective date and a definition of town-maintained road or
Yes.
right-of-way.
some sort of clause.
Clarify that,
It's owned.
So people won't assume, I guess, won't challenge us.
I guess, yeah, some stipulation that it does not apply to private roads and public easements.
One of the issues that was raised about public easement roads was liability. And one of the solutions might be to have the road associations, buy some sort of an insurance on the road that might protect the town. That was just a thought.
All I was trying to do with this, Paul, was to eliminate any confusion that a town-maintained road doesn't include a right-of-way or private road that we plow. That's, because as it's written, it says, the town-maintained road.
Yeah.
So,
Town-owned.
right?
Town-owned would.
Town-owned would be perfect.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Good.
So we're gonna have a workshop on the next April meeting?
No,
We need to have the public hearing on the 31st.
We voted to have that
Oh, okay,
at
sorry.
6 o'clock. And then we have the next meeting would be our April meeting.
Did you guys all, vote for that motion, or?
Yeah, we did.
I would just.
On the 31st?
Yeah, we voted to have a public hearing at 31st.
I don't know if you guys gave your, I don't think you gave your vote on that one.
Well, you guys were worried.
We were questioning,
Questioning.
about the ordinance being ready.
Right.
Well, if it's not ready, we'd have to put it off till the April meeting.
Yeah, I guess from my
So
point of view.
so again, how would we do that? We would.
We could have a
approve the
public
ordinance
hearing
and then have
before
a
our
public hearing
regular meeting.
afterwards. Well, you'd have to have it after, because you gotta approve the changes to the ordinance.
We can have it after.
Are you talking about the changes to the ordinance?
Right.
The ordinance changes after the public hearing?
I think you'd have to do it before, wouldn't you, and then have a public hearing?
Well, he can make the changes and then bring it to the public hearing.
Why don't we
And then
schedule a meeting,
have a meeting directly after.
why don't we schedule a meeting for 6 o'clock, have a public hearing at 6:15?
Right.
And we can approve,
Right.
and in that 15 minutes, we can,
Now, is this gonna be on the 31st?
6:15 or 6:30?
6 o'clock on the 30th.
I think we should, as long as you send us copies, way before.
We can look ahead of time.
All
Yeah.
right, so public hearing is 6:15, the meeting starts at 6.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. And then you need to decide if your next April meeting, whether you're gonna have a workshop at 5 or not. So, do you want one or not?
I think our work would be done, isn't it?
All right, so we'll have a regular meeting at 6.
We may want to spend time thinking about stuff for next
It seems
go
like
around.
you'd have- we
In
would
terms
have
of
to
important stuff
approve
that's
that.
coming out, we could start to brainstorm a bit about that.
It seems like we'd have to approve the ordinances though before the public hearing, right? You're
You
saying
could have the public hearing, then go back into the meeting, right, after, and have a discussion then.
Why would we have a discussion?
Because you're gonna have to move it, either choose to move them forward to the select board or choose not to.
Yeah,
So have
yeah.
a public,
And any comments we would consider at that point. Yeah, yeah. So, again, I think,
meeting, public hearing, meeting?
yeah,
Yeah. Meeting, public hearing, meeting.
Public hearing meeting.
Yeah, but you
We
don't
could-
have
we could do the
anything to
workshop
do to the
for-
public
I don't know.
to approve,
I mean,
till the board has approved the ordinances. What are you gonna present to the public, you know?
If you have the public hearing, we
Right.
can make the comments and then discuss it in the meeting after, and you can move forward with the recommended changes, if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
The process, may I help for 1 second? The process is you guys get paperwork 2 weeks prior to your meeting. That paperwork is what it is. You go to your public hearing, the public puts their input into said ordinances. Maybe changes are happen, maybe they don't. That happens after the public hearing.
But the board would have to approve the ordinance changes before it goes to public hearing. It doesn't make any sense to.
Well, no, you're setting the public hearing, so you, go ahead.
Oh, no, I mean, you made the changes tonight,
Okay.
and then you'll bring the
Revised.
revised document
Yeah.
to the public hearing.
Yeah,
And then you may have to change it again based on public hearing.
okay.
Well, my point is, we haven't, as a board, approved to bring that document ahead to the public hearing.
Yeah,
And I think we need,
okay. I mean, that would be proper procedure, I would think, but.
well, that's why I did the.
Can we
Well,
make
you
the
can-
motion?
You
Is that
can
what you're
set the
looking for?
public hearing with the changes that you want made. That way we can get that set up when we have the time to do that. We're running out of time to get this.
I get that. It's gonna happen on the
Right.
31st, one way or another. It's just a matter of.
Right.
So,
We just want to make sure that all that's legal, all of that's proper, you know, that you do it that way proper.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have your public hearing and then directly after, talk about anything you want to change.
Okay. As long as we're sure it's.
So public hearing, 31st at 6.
Okay.
All right,
31st of March?
Yeah.
31st of March.
Okay, so for my benefit, can we walk backwards? We're gonna have a public meeting in June,
Town meeting.
town meeting. So when does the town need these ordinances available to include them in that little booklet that goes to the town
The
meeting?
select board needs to have their public hearing and move to put them on the warrant 45 days before the June 16th meeting, town meeting.
That would be effectively May 1st,
Yeah.
approximately.
Yeah.
And before that can happen, it has to be approved by the select board.
Right, there needs to be a public hearing and they need to make a motion to move it, recommend it to the select board. The select board then sets their public hearing.
They don't need to have a public.
no, why do they have
There needs to be
hearing?
two public hearings.
I thought the next one is after it goes to the attorney, I thought.
Is that correct, Garrett? Two public hearings?
Yeah, the select board does need to do a public hearing, but it wasn't the process. Planning board recommends it, it goes to a public hearing, then that goes to the attorneys, then what comes next, the attorney approved goes to select board, they have their public
Yeah.
hearing, and then it goes on to,
I mean, it does need to have a meeting by the select board to go to the attorney, right?
no.
No, I don't think so.
So when is the select board meeting prior to May 1st, for example?
When's the what?
When's the
Select board meeting before May 1st?
Yeah, the second, third Tuesday of the month, whatever that happens to be.
April something.
Yeah,
April 21st?
okay.
Third week of April.
And it goes to the attorneys between that meeting date and, well, does it have to go back to the public, to the select board again after the attorneys have looked at it?
Once the
After the
attorneys
planning
look at,
board.
once the attorneys look at it, we take it
All right, you
back
should go to
again.
the attorneys between the planning board and the select board.
Yeah.
That's how the meeting works.
It's pretty tight.
Yep.
Anything else?
What?
All right, did you still need to vote on the public hearing, or did you already take it?
Yeah, you still need to vote on that.
We can do it again.
Okay,
Nothing stops us.
let's check one more time.
Make a motion, we have a public hearing on March 31st at 6 o'clock.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
All right. Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Do you hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
See you the 31st.